Hello and welcome to another episode of the Optimize Show. I am David Mammano, your host. Every Wednesday morning we have a great new show for you, and it's all about interviewing incredible, inspiring business leaders in incredible organizations that have optimized multiple parts of the business, getting just their great lessons so that we can share best practices with you in our community. Today I have on the show a great longtime friend, and I've done business with him for a long time as well, Tom Bonadio, Rochester legend at this point, I want to say too,
I don't
Tom.
know about that, but
Yes, absolutely. Tom Bonadio, welcome to the Optimize Show.
thank you. Well, great for having me.
Yeah, so if you live in Rochester, you know, I would venture to guess most people have heard your name. You're an incredible business person, started Bonadio Group back in 78? 78.
Yeah.
So I went to I always do a little research before the show, even though I know you. And I great smile because most people's LinkedIn today have 10 different jobs, right? And it was just one. It was 45 years?
Yeah, 46
45
now, almost 46 years, yeah.
The Bonadio Group. So congratulations
Thank you.
on sticking with it, right?
Yeah.
And I know you're doing
I
other
had a
things.
few jobs before that, but yeah.
You had a few jobs, yeah, but they were, you didn't have to list those, right? So, and I know you're doing some great things now as well, in addition to still being involved with the Bonadio Group, so we're going to talk about that. But you were born and bred in Rochester.
Born, yeah. Never left.
Never
Educated.
left. Where'd you grow up? The city?
Grew up in the Bay Street area originally, then East Irondequoit.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
And then you went to St. John Fisher.
Yeah.
And so I guess we could talk a little bit about what did you do right after Fisher before you started the Bonadio Group?
So I originally worked for one of the big firms, Arthur Andersen.
Okay.
I was there for 7 years.
Yeah.
Got my basic training in how to be a CPA and learned a lot. They were a great firm. But after 7 years, I said, I think I'm going to try this on my own.
Yeah. And back then, I mean, you know, I think entrepreneurship is much more popular these days. But back then, it was. I mean, did your parents say, Tom, what are you doing? You got a great job.
Well, in order to be a partner at Arthur Andersen back then, I was going to have to move.
Okay.
Okay, so I didn't want to move. All my family was here.
Yeah.
Most of my family were small business people.
Yeah.
So they worked for themselves.
Right.
And I always wanted to work for myself.
Yeah.
So I left with my original partner and my mother.
Okay. And your mother?
My mother.
Great. And what did she do for you?
She worked at Nixon, the law firm.
Yeah.
When we started, we couldn't afford a person. So she went to Nixon and said, can I have a 3-month sabbatical? I want to go help my son get his business started.
Oh, I love that.
So she came and she was our first employee, but I'm not sure she was our employee because we never paid her.
You were violating
she helped us get
labor
our
laws.
file. She said to me, who's going to answer your phone and who's going to type your letters?
Right.
I don't know. We don't have any clients. So
Right.
Can't afford anybody.
Yeah.
So she got us off got me going, and then maybe awesome. 3 months later, we were able to actually hire an administrative assistant.
Tell me about, I mean, I know it's a long time ago, but those first few weeks, those first few months, like you said, you had no clients.
None.
So obviously, what did you start doing? Just picking up the phone and saying, hi, I'm Tom.
Yep. Well, that and, we had some contacts, because we had worked for 7 years in the business. And some clients from Arthur Andersen said, hey, take my files with you. And a few of them said, I'm not going to hire you to be my accountant, but I'll give you some project work.
Yeah.
But basically it was hustle. We just hustled. And our original budget was to do $60,000 in the first year because I needed to make 20 grand to keep my house running, and my partner needed to make 20 grand, and we had 20 grand in overhead and rent and things like that. We did better than that the first year.
Oh, you did?
But basically hustled. But
Oh,
we had no idea where it was coming from. We just knew we had to get 60 grand in the door.
Right. And this is 1978. This is before QuickBooks and computers, and I mean, it was all
pencils, papers, and calculators.
Figuring things out, right?
And erasers.
A lot of erasers. That's excellent. And so, how long did it take you to say, we're going to make it?
I would say it took maybe a couple years.
Okay.
I mean, I always had Arthur Andersen tell me, if this doesn't work, come on back. So I had kind of a backup plan.
You didn't burn the bridge.
Yeah, I never burned the bridge. And but within a year or so, we had attracted some more people to come with us. We actually, within a year, bought another firm.
My God.
The guy was retiring, and we bought his practice out. And originally we were in the executive office building, which was a dump then. It's really a dump now.
Right.
But then we moved to First Federal Plaza, and that's when I knew we were going to make it because we took almost 2,000 square feet and
wow,
had about eight people at the time.
Yeah, very good, very good. And the accounting industry has changed a little bit in the past 40 years, right?
A lot, yeah.
So it is called the Optimize Show, and you have built a beautiful business. How many employees now? Over 1,000?
1,100.
1,100. We had your current CEO, Bruce Sakari, on the show a few months ago, and it was great.
Guy.
You're one of the largest firms in New York State, if not the country.
41st in the country.
41st in the country.
Yeah, out of 44,000 CPA firms.
Yeah. What an honor. A lot of hard work, but congratulations.
Thank you.
And you've expanded into different cities.
Yep.
Dallas is one of them.
Dallas is our most recent one, and
yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not going to look to grow much more in New York State. We're going to be looking at Texas, Carolinas, Florida, states where there's a lot more activity happening. Dallas was our first real entry into what I'd say a hot market versus what I would call up here as a cool market.
Yeah. Cooling, right?
Cooling, yeah.
So, started, the business, pretty young guy, no real leadership experience besides trial by fire. How I'm sure some of it was innate, but a lot of it, I would imagine, was mentorship, training. How did you know how to grow the business in a step-by-step successful way?
Some of it's built in your DNA, I've always been a people person. My wife says, how did you ever become a CPA? Because I'm not a detailed person. I'm more a sales personality.
Right, yeah.
I took some education. I remember going to this course that said how to build $1 million firm. And that was like, are you kidding me? We could have $1 million in revenues. And I learned a lot of the sales techniques. So it was constant learning process. Yeah. A lot of it was by, error. We learned by error, but there was a lot of hustle. And we brought in some really good people. We had a good momentum. We were kind of like the scrappy startup company that was looking for anything we could do to do well. And there were a lot of barriers to be broken. There was an ethnic barrier. There was a, hey, you're too small to service us. All of those things, little by little, we had to build our own brand. Yeah. And even though the name does have an Italian swing to it, it's now more of a brand, more of a like Ferrari's a great Italian brand.
Right.
Well, that's what we've tried to do, build a brand like that.
Yeah. Bonadio, I know enough Italian to be dangerous. I think it means like good God, right?
Good God. I think that's what they said when I was born. But
right, good God. So you can't go wrong with that name.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, as late as the 1970s, you still had some pushback based on your name, huh?
Oh, it was much past that. We still have a lot of pushback.
There's still, That's interesting. So over 1,000 people now, and you, I want to say you retired, but not. You stepped aside as the CEO, right?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. Yeah. You're still very involved. You're
chairman of the board.
Chairman of the board. Yeah.
Senior counsel to the firm, so I do some high-level consulting, and then I run I have two investment funds that I do through the firm with the firm's resources.
Okay.
Yeah, we've raised, 21 and 40, about $35 million. Wow. And we've been investing in upstate New York companies.
In upstate New York?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. And then I know that you also inspire other investors to follow you. Maybe some bigger investors, I'll say.
Once we get a good one, then we have the ability to go talk to other people we know and say, hey, will you come in with us?
You've vetted them to some extent, right?
So. Yeah, we get them going.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What were some of the major challenges? You said there were some hurdles with, some ethnic, et cetera, but were there any other, maybe some big mistakes, some big challenges, hurdles that kind of stopped you in your tracks?
We made numerous mistakes along the way, but never a fatal one.
Yeah.
And always learned from them. We got some really good momentum, when the Enron thing happened, and the firm I originally worked for, Arthur Andersen, went down. Yeah. And the big firms didn't want to deal with the middle market anymore. And we were big enough to take advantage of that at the time. We were probably, 60, 70 people. Yeah. And so we got a lot of people from Andersen to come with us. We got a lot of their clients to come with us. And a lot of the other what was left of the big four, they were dumping clients because they were too small. Well, we were here to take them.
Right, yeah.
Then they never got them back.
Yeah. You held them, huh?
And mostly it's been about people. We've been really, really blessed by getting good people, bringing them in, motivating them, showing them the best that they could do with their talents, and creating a good culture.
What are some of the strategies, not that you have to give away your secret sauce, but what are some of the strategies you do to engage people, to have them be their best selves?
It's always about finding out what they really want to do, and then letting them do it.
Yeah.
Giving them the support they need, the enthusiasm that they're doing a good job. Being there when things are not going well and make sure that you can correct them.
Yeah.
I've always felt that my job was to find someone else to take my job. No matter what job I had, whether I was working on a client or running a department or running the firm, it was always find the best person that can take my job so I can move up.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've been lucky. We've had a mentality of growth, and that stimulates people. It also creates a lot of opportunities for people.
Yeah.
And so, we've always been about, what opportunity can I get for people? It's not being a CEO. I always call me a chief opportunity officer.
Yeah, I like that.
And if I can get a good opportunity for you, you'll want to stay.
Yeah.
And if you don't see opportunities, you'll probably go somewhere else.
Well, and I know that you've diversified. You're not just accounting anymore. You've either started and or purchased related businesses that companies that you're working with would need those services as well.
Yep.
Yeah. What was the first time that happened?
Well, when you're in upstate New York, it's pretty tough to just be an accounting firm.
Right. Yeah.
So the only way we could make money was to find other things we could sell our clients. They had to be valuable things, but they also had to be profitable for us and synergistic.
Yeah.
So our goal was to create a company or a service line that could handle everything our clients need, from from womb to tomb. If they needed this, we had it. If they needed this, we had it. Because finding new growth clients, pretty tough in upstate New York, but finding a good client and then selling them more and more things was a better way to grow our firm than trying to find new logos. And once you sell somebody multiple things, they're probably not going to go anywhere else.
They're tied in.
Yeah.
That's a great lesson, right? So once you have the customer, built that relationship, it's easier to sell them more things than going out to find new customers.
I mean, you have to do both, but you definitely it's easier to sell your current client than it is to find a new one.
Right, because the trust is already there.
Yeah.
And then you get them more intertwined in a good way with the value they're providing.
Yeah,
like
there's
synergies
back and forth. Sometimes our other services find companies that need our traditional businesses, and our traditional businesses find clients who need the extra services. So we have really over a dozen other types of special services that we can offer our clients.
Yeah.
If you need it, we probably got it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I know you and Tom Golisano are very good friends, and he did the same thing with paychecks, adding HR, et cetera. And I've interviewed Tom Golisano before in the past, and they see Tom, Golisano, Tom Bonadio, very successful people now.
Well, he's a lot more successful.
Yeah. Well, but you both have created incredible success from nothing, right? And but for people that are running businesses, smaller businesses, newer businesses, experiencing a lot of the highs and lows. I love how you share, especially in the first, 5 or 10 years, you had some tough times. Now, there's one story that I remember. You know what story I'm going to talk about?
This is the Bubba story?
The janitor story?
Yeah.
Can you tell that? Because that's like one of my favorites.
So the worst time was in the early 90s, which most people don't remember because they're not old enough. But the early 90s was really, really a bad economy. The banks were in trouble. The interest rates were through the ceiling. Interest is not high now. It was high then. And business became very, very difficult. My original partner and I decided it was time to go a different way. I wanted to grow. He didn't. That was non-negotiable for me. So we decided it was time for him to leave. And of course, he took a lot of good people and a lot of good clients and left me with all the overhead. So we had a period of a number of months where we couldn't cash flow it. The banks wouldn't give us any more money. I had every nickel I had in the business. My parents had loaned me everything they had, which wasn't that much. And we weren't paying the partners for a while, but it got to the point where we almost couldn't pay the employees. And if that was going to happen, that was going to be a death to the firm.
And this is 12, 13 years after you started the business, right?
Yeah, it's 1994.
1994.
Okay. And so we had a janitor who worked for us, but he was really kind of a friend. He had left Kodak on an early buyout and had been very, very good with his money his whole life, never spent any of it. And one of my partners said to him, and his nickname is Bubba, and one of my partners said to him, Bubba, you better look for another job because I'm not sure we're going to be here much longer. And about 3 days later, when I was there late at night trying to figure out how the hell I was going to keep this thing afloat, he comes in and he's picking up the garbage and he says to me, so I hear you have a case of the shorts. And I go, you talking about my height? Right. He goes,
let's not make this personal.
He goes, no, the cash shorts. I hear you got a case of the cash shorts. I go, yes. He goes, how much do you need? I said, well, I'm working on that right now. I think I need $80,000. He reaches in his back pocket, takes out his checkbook, writes me a check for $80,000.
Oh my God.
Puts it on my desk and says, pay me off when you can, give me some good interest.
Right.
And not even a handshake. Forget about a note.
That was it, huh?
He gets up, takes the garbage, and walks out.
And you're like, is this a joke? What's going on?
I'm going, But that 80 grand got us through to where we could cash flow again. He was the first thing I paid off. I gave him really good interest. And when he retired, we took our cafeteria and we named it the Bubba Bistro.
Oh, the Bubba Bistro.
And we have a plaque on the wall with him and the story. Of what happened. So So we were this close to biting the bullet
Bubba
in '94.
So
which wasn't that long ago.
You never know. You never know,
know,
right? Because I met you a few years later and you were doing well again. So
It took us a while to get back up on our feet, but then it ended up being the split between me and my original partner ended up being the best thing that ever happened to us because we all got in line. We all wanted to go the same direction. We all wanted to grow. And if you have common culture, you can be a lot more successful. And you have one or two that are not on the same page, it's a problem.
The bad apple, right? So and that's another lesson there too. Is what looked like was going to be a death blow, step backwards, ended up being ultimately a major step forward. With a little divine gift along the way, right? I mean, who would have thought Bubba would have saved the day?
Later on, when we retired, his wife came to the retirement party, and I said, I want to thank you for letting Bubba give us that 80 grand. She said, I knew nothing about it.
She trusted Bubba with the money, right?
No, I don't think you ever told her.
No, because business owners, we never do that, right? Well, that's that. And I think, when I started my first company in '95, I became a client, I think, in early 2000. And so I was with you as you were
coming out of it,
really growing again. So that's super fantastic. So I also want to talk about optimizing your leadership. So you got to a certain point where you were ready to step aside as CEO. So tell us how you ran that process as far as who were the new leaders of the company were going to be, and how you were going to do whatever you can to make sure they brought it to the next level.
So change in leadership should be evolutionary and not revolutionary. So we started that thought process probably 10 years before I was ready to do it, and then around 5 years before the partners agreed. We had a couple of candidates where we agreed that Bruce was going to be the right guy. So we had a 5-year program. I remember starting off listing everything that I did, and of course Bruce had a client base that he had to transfer to other people. And I said, okay, these are the 3 things you're going to do now. And I will stop doing those. Next year you'll pick up these 3 things, and next year you'll pick up. So by the time we got to 5 years, he had pretty much, but he was doing the job,
and
it was like, well, of course he's the new CEO, and he's done a terrific job since then. As a founder, a lot of people say, well, how are you going to back off and stay? It's actually been pretty easy for me. I'm still in touch. I don't really call him if he, I'm the chairman of the board, so I might have some questions from time to time. But he calls me regularly. And we keep in touch, and he'll say, hey, I got this issue, what do you think? And then sometimes I'll go, I think you should go right. And he'll go, no, I think I'm going left. I go, well, okay, it's your call, not mine.
But he discusses it, right?
We discuss it first. And, he's a good person, he's smart. During that 5 years, not only was he learning, but we looked at, okay, what other skills do you need? And we've been all about, and we have a really substantial program about training our future leaders.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time. We try to pick out early in their career who are the ones we think could lead the firm down the road.
Yeah.
Now, Bruce has probably got another 10, 15 years, but we're already thinking about his replacement.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now,
Very
who could
purposeful,
it be?
right?
Who could it be? Right.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. Well, and Bruce, I agree. I call him, I think on the show I call him a calming force of nature.
He is calm.
Right?
He's more calm than I am.
You're a little more old school Italian,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
But he's, you could tell he's very brilliant, very respected, brought the culture, everything to the next level. But yeah, he's always kind of calm and cool, which is good, right?
Yeah.
So, last but not least, you stepped aside as CEO, and then you said it was okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
You started fighting cancer.
Yeah, it was. It was right around COVID, and my wife and I were planning on, as soon as COVID's over, we're going to do this traveling and that traveling.
Yeah.
And my dentist, I went to go get my teeth cleaned, and my dentist said, "There's some yellow in your eyes. I don't like it." And that got me into doing some tests the next day, and turned out I had a tumor in my pancreas.
Wow.
So that was in February of 21. And so I've been down to New York City, Sloan. I've been working with the doctors at Sloan.
Yeah.
And I've been through chemotherapy, and it's called the Whipple operation, where they take out half your pancreas and the tumors, and radiation treatment. But right now I've already beat the odds by being around 3.5 years after you get diagnosed, but I'm in remission and I'm doing pretty well.
Fantastic.
I have to go get checked every 3 to 4 months.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm feeling great.
Yeah, yeah. No, you look
And,
fantastic. I mean,
thanks.
With chemo, sometimes you lose your hair. I don't know if you did or not, but
It
is
thinned out
back.
a little bit, but I didn't lose it.
Nothing can take away that hair, right? That's great. Well, and I know, especially that diagnosis of cancer with the pancreas is, usually, a little scary, right?
Not good.
But congratulations and God bless for pulling through and making it happen, because I think there's a lot more Tom Bonadio to come, right?
Yeah, I think he must have some reason to keep me around for a while.
Right, absolutely. So, yeah. Well, you're still helping not only the Bonadio Group by being chairman, but with the investments you're doing, especially in upstate New York.
Yeah,
right?
the first fund we invested in 11 companies.
Yeah.
We had 22 million, and 3 or 4 of them have already gone bankrupt. But that's the way that works.
Yeah, yeah.
And but we've got 3 or 4 in there that could be really big employers and substantial wins for our investors.
Yeah.
Then I stopped because I had the cancer, and then when I started feeling better, my partner, Teresa Mazzullo, was my partner in that.
Yeah.
And she said, we should do another fund. So I said, I don't know, but we wrote to our investors and said, anybody want to do this again? And we got another $14 million.
Wow, okay.
And we've invested about $4 million of that so far.
Yeah.
And we're taking our time, but we look at companies. We stay very active with them. We're on their boards. We talk to the CEOs. We work with them on a regular basis, and we try to make them as successful as possible.
Yeah.
Then I'm on a number of boards in my fund, but I'm also on Paycheck's board, Royal Oak. Yeah. So I want enough to keep me busy, because I don't want to not be busy, but I don't want something that says I can't go away, play golf, or go to Italy, or wherever we want to go. Yeah. So we've been traveling a lot.
The hybrid retirement,
yes,
right?
It's hybrid.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Yeah.
And just quickly for people watching that want to know, as they're building a company, and maybe they want to get investments someday from you or somebody else, what are the things that you guys look for to say this is something we want to consider?
So it's a combination. It usually starts with the people. Are they a good management team? Do they know what they're doing? Do they have experience? Can they be entrepreneurial? The mistakes I think we made was, frankly, one of the companies, they had ex-Kodak people, and they were not entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
So the people, the product, obviously, is the product something that's got real legs down the road? Are they in an industry that's growing and has good possibilities? And I would say those 3 things are the things we look at. We also look at their planning. So, Bonadio and Company, we've been doing strategic plans for 25 years. Bruce just did a new one, 5-year. We do 5-year strategic plans. So most CPA firms are good at helping their clients grow, but they're not very good at helping themselves grow.
Shoemaker's daughter
So
syndrome.
we're planning 4 or 5 years ahead. And that's been good for us. And we look at our investments in impact capital and say, are these people that are thinking 3 to 5 years ahead? Or there's somebody trying to make payroll on Friday? So it's always a little, you know, they're early, so they're not startups. We're not investing in brand new startups. We're looking for people who actually have a product and have revenues. Maybe they're not making profits yet, but they're close to it. That's kind of our typical one. And there's a lot of companies out there. It's not a matter of finding companies, it's a matter of finding the right companies to do it.
That are going to grow enough to pay back your investors, right?
And make some good profits. Some of the idea with this is, you know, you find hopefully a home run in there, a couple of doubles, a couple of singles, you're going to get some strikeouts. But when you put it all together, you know, your investors are looking at multiple returns on their money over a period of time.
No, I read once that VC firms will make 10 investments and maybe 8 of the companies are going to go bankrupt or not make it, but there's going to be 2 massive home runs. So, very good. Tom Bonadio, thank you so much, and I totally mean it. You know, if you are here in upstate New York, you are a Rochester legend, and appreciate all that you've done for our community, all the jobs you've created, all the companies that you've helped, and all the great things that you've done with charity and boards that you're on. So thanks for doing what you're doing, and I look forward to seeing much more of what you're going to do.
All right. Well, thanks, David.
Thank you, Tom.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thank you, everybody, for watching another fantastic, maybe one of the best episodes of the Optimize Show. Please watch us every Wednesday morning. Go to our YouTube page, our website, etc. We would love to have you like us, share us, subscribe, the whole works. We're looking to help more people, and you can help us. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and make sure to stay awesome.